Hola, yo me llamo Slim Trady. Most people know me as Zachariah. You can call me Zach, whatever. Just I'm a screen talking to you, whatever. Um, and here's what I expect out of the markets this week. Now, before I get into this, I want to talk about some of the kind of mental things I've been thinking about. I think about this stuff while I'm at work, hammering out my work. Um, I try to be as transparent as possible about my life and how it ties into trading and where a lot of your motives are kind of originating from. And before with the markets, I just wanted to make a lot of money real fast, and that led to me losing a lot of money really fast. And so the way I've combated this is that now I have a really big, yeah, it's a big goal, but I've also learned and adjusted to make low threshold goals now. I came to the conclusion that if I made $1,400 a month from trading, which is a little over 1,000, 1,400, about 1,000 and a half, my expenses would be paid. Everything that I'm making from my 9 to 5 job, 40 hours a week, could go straight to savings or whatever else I want to put that money. And so 1,400 a month is 350 a week, and that was my goal at first. But now I'm realizing the possibilities, because last week I did accomplish that, but then the human aspect of myself kind of traded that back into losses because I wanted to get greedy, right? Instead of just walking away from the charts, I got greedy because of what's happening in price action right now, which we'll get into in a bit. But I just want to state that my goal is to make $610 for the month. That's it. So 2 weeks worth of work from my old work, which would have been about 700. And the reason behind this being is that if I make $610, let's just say 700 just to make it easy, my rent is paid with a little bit of a cherry on top, to pay maybe electricity, Wi-Fi, sewer, all those things. I don't have to worry about that coming out of my paycheck, because my paycheck is, I'll say the number, about $1,200 every 2 weeks. And for me to spend 610 of that in one day for my living expenses it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Granted, it does last a month, but this is how people get stuck living from paycheck to paycheck, is because with the rest of that money, they don't use it wisely. And with the extra money that I'm gonna get from being able to do this, once I can show myself that it's possible, which is the main focus this week. I want to just make 350, if even that. I mean, you split that into two, I'm making 175, when 175 is perfectly fine. I made that last week. I made 184, I believe. Let me check. Never mind. I didn't write down. Wait. Yes, I did. 186. 186. I made that last week. So last week would have been a really good week had I not chose to go back in and walk away with my money. However, it's okay, because we're still proving to ourselves that it is possible and that it's consistent, and we can repeat this day after day, week after week. And so with that being said, let's get into price analysis. So on the weekly chart, we've been respecting this candle's low. One thing I do want to point out is this fair value gap right here. We can get rid of this one. Well, technically, not yet. Yeah, it's still a good piece of narrative in price. It's still holding it at bay. However, I think that we've made enough of a low to work our way back out. So I'm gonna get rid of these because that wick is just wild. But I think everything to the downside has been more than enough, or more that's needed, before we come back up and touch these all-time highs again. So if you peep in ES on the left, this fair value gap that we make right here, we barely touch the high end of it and kind of bounce back up. versus in the NASDAQ, we go to about the consequent encroachment, or the middle of that range. You see that right there. Now, anything on a closing basis above this order block was lovely for, you know, price to reach into the SIBI, and then this all-time high right here. But I want to show you what's going on the daily time frame. Okay, so here's a daily time frame. Here's the weekly BISI outlined. I'm just gonna get rid of my screen that we can see what I'm really looking for on a daily basis, and it's this fair value gap right here that was formed on Wednesday, July 24th. We closed over that, and we've been respecting that, keeping price afloat right here as we're accumulating orders before expanding in a direction which I believe is going to be higher. Versus in NASDAQ, we look like we're forming like a flag, and it's like staggering lower, and it's respecting that same fair value gap right here with the volume imbalance from the closing price right here to the opening price right there, all the way down to this candle's high. And yeah, like we haven't got any single candle closure outside of that. There's a lot of upside liquidity past this level, especially right here at 19,694 and a half. That's what I'm targeting the first thing this week. I want that liquidity pool. And then I believe that these buy side targets right here, as well as this SIBI in orange, that number, are all going to be met this week. Yeah, we had a down close candle last week after 3 consecutive weeks of upside delivery. And so I believe that that was just a order block being formed, and so a closing price outside of that would be lovely. We only have a few more weeks left of this contract, so I expect things to get pretty jumpy here. But yeah, that's how I am outlooking this week in the market, and we will touch base on how I do every single trading day on my YouTube shorts. So stay tuned and safe trading and be safe.